So I've been dealing with a medical emergency in my house. My husband's very ill, and you know, I totally understand why people think that people like us with that are autistic, that we don't have empathy or care about people, and it's quite the opposite. I care a lot and I have a lot of empathy, but my sensory overload always overrides any empathy that I might have. My sensory overload overrides caring about a particular situation that might be going on. And my sensory overload always wins. So everything started about 7 days ago. And I thought my husband had like the stomach flu. He got really, really violently ill. I haven't seen that much vomit ever. And it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. And so once 4 days was up, because I'm like, sweetie, the flu usually lasts 3 to 4 days. Let's see what's going on. And he still wasn't getting any better. And so then we had to talk about getting to the hospital because he had gotten so weak that I couldn't help him anymore. So we had to call, for an ambulance. And he tried to fight me on it. Like, he was very angry and very upset that he had to go to the hospital. And I'm like, sweetie, I can't do this. I can't do this with you. And on top of all the sounds of vomiting, the smell, and the moaning and groaning constantly 24/7. And I know I sound like an asshole, but I'm not. I'm not. I can't hear all that whining and moaning, and I can't do it. I try. And so we finally get him to the hospital and everything like that. And then, it's kind of where things went from, bad to worse. First off, once I got there, I had to sit in the emergency room, waiting room, because they had taken him, somewhere. I don't know where exactly. And he, they had him somewhere. I don't know where, but I had to sit in the waiting room, and there were people in there moaning and groaning, and there were lights flickering, and there were people talking, and people crying, and kids running and screaming, and I I almost lost it. But I got through that part, and then after having to wait for like an hour, over an hour, I'd get up periodically and just walk around because I just had to move. And I was finally able to go back, and I thought, oh, maybe things would be better, but it wasn't. It was just so bright back where he was, and loud, and the smells were overwhelming, and the lights were buzzing, and I could hear like paper gowns rustling and plastic bags and wheels squeaking, and it was so much. But I did the best I could, and I almost didn't make it. And they've just parked us in there and left us in there for so long, and not knowing what's going on, or are we moving forward, not having anybody to ask any questions or anything like that. And I realized during all of this how my sensory sensitivities have been pretty much running my life. Between having sensory issues and having communication issues where I can't explain things or ask things properly because people think I'm being rude, to the point where I'm like, no, I'm not being rude. I am asking specific questions that I believe are factual. If I were being rude, you'd know. And they're like, but you're being rude now. I'm like, I'm not being rude. I need information. You're rude because you're not answering my questions. And if my voice is getting raised up a little bit, it's because there's too much going on. And I've asked you the same questions like 3 or 4 times. And you're looking at me like I have 10 eyeballs. I don't know what to do with that. I don't know what to do with that, you know? And I have a problem with control. I already know that, especially in medical emergencies. I need to control everything. But I can't because I don't know anything about medical anything. I have Band-Aids on my fingers because I can't keep my fingers out of my mouth, and I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain. But I don't know what else to do. I don't know how else to respond. I don't know how else to regulate my emotions. I have all my little toys, all my little squeezy things, and it's just not enough. It's just not enough. And I'm really struggling. And I'm trying to hold it together because our family doesn't live here. And they're counting on me to do my best. And I'm trying to do my best. But I'm moving toward, getting really angry because when my husband called this morning, I'd been sleeping because I haven't slept in 4 days. I'm running back and forth to the hospital, not getting any information. I come home, I can't sleep. I have a dog to take care of too. And I woke up and read the text messages and I thought I was going to lose my shit. And then I found out that he doesn't have the flu, first off. He had a bowel obstruction, which was really affecting my smell and sensory issues because I'm like, why do you have the flu and you're puking? Why do I smell shit? My poor husband, he's so sick. It was a bowel obstruction and a leaky bowel, and we didn't know. We thought he had the flu. And it didn't even dawn on me that he might not have the flu until I called for the ambulance, and she was asking me questions, and she asked me, is he pale or anything like that? And I said, no, his color's really good. And she goes, has he had a fever? And I was like, no, he hasn't had a fever. And he actually looks pretty good, as far as, most people that are sick are, pale. My husband's Italian, so yes, he gets pale. And so that was my first indication that there might be something else going on. And I feel really bad about that because I typically pick up on everything, and I didn't this time. But anyway, all of that said, handling medical emergencies when you're autistic is a huge, huge challenge. I'm struggling right now. But I know in my heart, I have empathy and I care about people. I'm struggling showing it. I feel it, it's in there, but I can't reach it. I can't reach it to pull it out. The only thing that happens is my autism takes over and sensory overload takes over. The communication breakdown becomes even worse when I'm talking to different people, different nurses, different perspectives, different doctors that are looking at different things. And then asking the wrong questions to the wrong people and not getting my answers and feeling like I have no control. Being autistic and dealing with medical emergencies of people that you love and care for is tough. And I guess I'm on here sharing this for people that are neurotypical. When you see us completely breaking down and doing weird things, we're doing the best we can. we're doing the best we can. And especially if you're out there and you're watching me and you don't know if you're autistic or not, but you feel like you have some traits, do your research and see. Because it explains so much, because now I know why I react the way I do to certain things. And I never used to know that before. And so that's been huge. And I also understand now why when I'm in very stressful situations, I'll say things like from movies, and act a certain way, from a movie character or something like that. It's totally out of context, and having people look at me weird because I did that, and I can't remember what I said, but my husband said today that I was repeating things that Dr. Spock or Data would say from Star Trek. So I don't remember doing any of that, but he said I did it quite often. And so I don't even know what I said. And so all of you neurotypicals out there that are with us, that are autistic, just know we're doing the best we can, and that we care, and that we love you. We care about the things that you're going through, or other people, family, friends, whatever. It's just that sometimes we don't know what to do or how to respond or even how to communicate properly so that you don't think we're being assholes, because 9 times out of 10 we're not. Now, don't get me wrong. There's some, autistic people out there that are narcissists and they're assholes and, they have all these other things. But I'm talking about your run-of-the-mill, everyday, autistic person that doesn't have any, deep other personality problems. We're doing the best we can. And we know we frustrate you. Maybe we don't. I do, because I'm so aware of, since I've just been newly diagnosed, I'm really aware, and I'm trying to learn about myself because I like learning things. And so, I just, I don't know where I was going with that, but I want to be here and be your support mechanism. And if there are any of you that are dealing with medical emergencies and you feel like you're losing it, it's going to be okay. And I hate saying that because it sounds so cliche. It's going to be okay. It's going to be okay. But it's really going to be okay because, it always is. And if it isn't okay, then you just have to get through it because, what else are you going to do? Nothing but get through it. So anyway, after I got on all the nurses today, after finding out that he'd been, having problems with his tube last night, and, they put a tube up his nose and down into his stomach to drain all that shit out, literally. And the tube came loose last night when they moved him to a new room, and he kept calling somebody to come help him, and nobody ever came. And they literally left him sitting in a shitty bed from that tube for almost 12 hours. And so when I got there this morning, I lost it. And I was as nice as I could be about it. But when I got there, I heard his monitor beeping. And I said, so his monitor is beeping in there. I know the night crew has sucked ass. What are you guys doing? And how long has this buzzer been going off? Because I need somebody to deal with that. So, just not happy. And I understand the medical profession is hard. I know it's hard, but you picked it. You picked it. It's the career you chose. Get out of it if you don't care about people. Just go away, okay? Because, yes, you're shorthanded and everything like that. But for me, even as a retail manager back in the day, When I was shorthanded, my cashiers and customer service people were not allowed to be rude to the customers. They were not allowed to be rude to each other, and they were not allowed to be rude to me. And if they were going to be rude to anybody, I said, be rude to me because I can handle it. You know what I mean? I understand hospitals are running short and they're running right along that line. I get that. But to disrespect and neglect a patient, that's just wrong. So anyway, I wanted to get on here and just talk a little bit about what it's like handling a medical emergency from an autistic perspective, because it's tough, not gonna lie. It's really, really hard, and I'm not getting through it very well. And the walk is a long walk, and the lights are a problem, and the smells and the textures of things, and I'm just trying to make it as best I can. And I want you to know, if you're autistic and you feel like this sometimes, it's going to happen no matter what. But if you're insightful, like I'm trying to stay insightful, I'm trying to stay an adult and realize what it is that you're doing, and then just kind of like, buff the edges down a little bit so things don't come out sounding so sharp. Just kind of sand down the edges a little bit if you're aware on how you might sound. So for me, when I hear my tone, because I don't hear tone, I hear words typically. But now I know when I hear my tone that I need to sand down the edges because, I'm getting a little sharp. So anyway, I could drone on and on and on because I've been so lonely and I've been scared, not knowing what was wrong with him until recently. And, I'm by myself and I don't do so well by myself typically. And, I'm just glad you guys are here for me to just get this off of me and so I can feel better. And so I'm home now during the day because I don't trust the night shift now. So I'll be going up there probably around 8 or 9 o'clock and staying the night to make sure that he's not, neglected again. So that's what I'm going to be doing. Anyway, thanks for being there for me, you guys, and listening and letting me get this off my heart. And I always appreciate you guys. And I want to thank you for being here and supporting me. It's everything. If I didn't have you guys to talk to right now, if I didn't have you guys to talk to right now, I'd be losing my shit. So thank you and take care. And I'll see you in my next video.